There's a town in Belgium where, if you ask a stranger on the street, is he crazy? They might just shrug and say, half of Geel is crazy, the rest of us are half crazy, and they mean it as a compliment to their town. Because for over 700 years, this town has been treating mental illness in a way that sounds more advanced than what most of the world does today. No hospitals, no chains, no cells, just families. Ordinary families opening their homes to strangers with severe mental illness and letting them live as part of the household, cooking with them, working the farm with them, treating them like people. It started with a murder. Legend says a young Irish princess named Dimthna fled to this town in the 7th century, running from her own father, whose grief had twisted into obsession. He found her. He killed her. Pilgrims started visiting the site of her death, believing she could cure madness. Some of those pilgrims never left. Locals took them in. And somehow, that accident of hospitality turned into a system, one that by the 1930s had over 4,000 mentally ill people living inside ordinary homes across the town. Not locked away, living there. Today, it's still happening. Here's the part that should bother you. This wasn't the exception in history. It was closer to the rule than you've been told. In the year 705, over 1,000 years before asylums existed in Europe, the city of Baghdad opened something we'd recognize today as a psychiatric ward. It had gardens, fountains, a library, music rooms, because doctors believed music could actually treat the mind. Patients were treated regardless of their religion or where they came from. The man running it, a physician named Al-Razi, didn't chain his patients. He talked to them. He reassured them. He gave them hope of recovery, a full 1,000 years before Freud ever put anyone on a couch. Even earlier, in Rome, a physician named Asclepiades had his own method. Fresh air, baths, music, massage, and this one might surprise you, sitting his patients down with philosophers over a glass of wine just to talk. That's not folklore, that's a documented treatment plan. From over 2,000 years ago, and it wasn't only doctors. In 9th century Baghdad, entire neighborhoods had an informal system where local leaders quietly kept watch over the most vulnerable people in the community, sharing the responsibility of caring for them, the way you'd look out for a family member. So why does almost nobody know any of this? Why does ancient mental health care conjure up an image of chains and skull? Drilling, when entire civilizations were running hospitals with gardens and music rooms while parts of Europe were still calling it witchcraft, maybe because the story we've been told, the past was primitive, we've only ever been getting more humane, isn't actually true. Maybe humanity has been circling the same idea for thousands of years, that people in pain don't need to be hidden, they need to be cared for. Geel never stopped believing that. The question is why the rest of the world did. If a whole town has been doing this quietly for 700 years, what else has history buried that we're only just rediscovering? Subscribe, because next time, we're going somewhere even older.